What's up, guys? I'm DK Wrestler, and in today's video, it's going to be a brand new edition of Cop Up or Pass Up. For those brand new to the channel, Cop Up or Pass Up is a series where I look at a certain set of exclusives and determine via my own personal reaction, the said detail of item, and the overall hype from social media from the Funko fanatics on whether these are worth a cop up right away or a pass up upon release date. And of course, today's episode is going to be on the recently announced C2E2 2024 exclusives, which have a lot of people excited, but not at the same time. But let's kick off with the very first pop, which is the Pop Wanted poster of Shanks from One Piece, which this is going to be shared with GameStop in Canada and the Funko shop in the US, which I'm going to say cop right away. One Piece is one of those licensors that are uber popular right now with so much detail in terms of their pops. I feel like this Wanted poster, though, in my opinion, isn't exactly as great as we've seen with the prior ones, but still people are going to go all for this, and you know it's going to be a huge secondary market price. And continuing the One Piece train, it is the Caesar Clown, which is going to be exclusive to the Funko shop, in which I'm going to say cop for this one also. This is really cool. I love the detail involved with this, including the base and the head sculpt as it is. And like a lot of One Piece pops, they are super detailed and they go for quite a bit as terms to the secondary market. So if you can get this at retail, definitely get it right away before those prices skyrocketed up. Next up is the Tony Stark for the Marvel lineup, which this is going to be shared with the Funko shop in the US and GameStop here in Canada, in which I'm going to say cop for this one. I love the whole split as terms of this pop where you do have Tony Stark and then in the middle of transforming into his Iron Man suit. I can't remember which movie it was. I want to say it's like Iron Man 2 or 3 that specific moment happens, but I'm really glad that they made it into pop form, and I think this is going to sell pretty decently and definitely is one of the best Marvel pops we've gotten for conventions in quite a while. Next up is the Jiminy Cricket Funko Soda from Pinocchio, which is going to be shared with Box Lunch in the US, and I'm going to say a pass up this time around. Now, it's not really because of my personal reaction towards this, but I find when it comes to looking at the common and the chase, I don't know, I feel like you can go either way where you don't really care about wanting to get the chase. So if you do end up getting the common, you won't want to get a second can. And I feel like with this kind of Funko Soda, especially with the trend that's been going on Box Lunch, where I feel like because there is a decent amount being made, which is 13,500, that there's going to be only a little bit of people that are actually going to be buying this the day of release. And I feel like in about a month when it's still on the website, it's going to go on for more of a clearance price. So if you're not really needing this right now, I do recommend waiting because I do feel like there's going to be a price drop on the soda at some point. Next up is the Woody and Buzz Lightyear 2-pack from Toy Story, and this is a cop-up. This is a really unique idea for a 2-pack of pops, and I'm really excited for when this releases, since it is going to GameStop, and that is the closest retailer for me as terms to buying Funko Pops. So I'm excited to get this and not having to go on, like, let's say a Pop Culture or some sort of website where I have to wait for it with shipping to arrive to my place. So I'm really excited about this, and a lot of people are also. The details cool, so it checks all three criteria as terms to what I look for a cop. Next up is Poochie from The Simpsons, which this is going to be shared with Funko Shop in the US only, and this is a cop-up. This is a really excellent pop. I love when Funko does Simpsons pops for conventions because for the most part, they are really obscure characters that make sense to be Comic-Con exclusives. And I say obviously for the most part, not all the time, because we did get that Belly Dancer Homer the one year for FunCon, and that wasn't really well received. But with a character like Poochie that is a part of the Itchy and Scratchy show, I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy this, especially to go along with their specific Itchy and Scratchy pops. And I mean, my co-host MD Shady, who collects a lot of Simpsons pops, I'm sure is so excited about this, and this may be his top one as terms to this. It's definitely a cop-up because it's a newer character rather than just getting another version of Homer or Bart or some sort of other character they made multiple pops already of. Next up is Poe with Dumplings from Kung Fu Panda, which this is going to be shared with Target in the US, I believe, and GameStop here in Canada. It is really cool to see the return of Kung Fu Panda pops, especially with the new movie recently released, and we've all probably heard Jack Black's rendition of Hit Me Baby One More Time that has just been going all over social media as of late. this is really cool, and I am excited for potential newer Kung Fu Panda pops, whether it is newer characters or different versions of Po that could be regular releases or convention exclusives. So this is kind of the startup of that, and I think this is one of those unique pops that makes sense to be a convention exclusive rather than a regular release. And I forgot to mention, I am going to say for right now, it is a pass up, unfortunately, and it has to do with the fact that it is being shared with Target, and they do get an abundance of Comic-Con exclusive pops, and even to the point where they may go on clearance at some point, just like a lot of the Target Con exclusives went on clearance like 9 days after they had released. So it may be following the trend with this. Next up is the 10-inch Cresselia from Pokemon, which is going to be shared with GameStop in Canada and Barnes & Noble and Books A Million in the US, and I'm going to say pass up for right now. I think there's a couple of factors going towards this. I think the first thing is that not a lot of people really wanted Cresselia compared to, let's say, some of those Generation 1 Pokemon like Gengar that people have been wanting for such a long time. And another reason is that it's a 10-inch pop and not a 4-inch pop, and a lot of people are turned off by the bigger size pops. You do see a lot of stores putting those bigger size pops on clearance nowadays, so I do feel that this is going to be one of those pops that are going to take a little bit to sell out, and if it does, it's because it's at a more clearance price instead of whatever price 10-inch pops are nowadays. Next up is Madara Uchiha from Naruto Shippuden, which is going to be shared with the Funko shop in the US only, and I'm going to say pass up for right now. Although it is anime and I could see this selling out, when you have a lineup with pops like the 2 pops from One Piece, and you do have a Dragon Ball pop we're going to talk about later, and especially the My Hero Academia pop, I feel like this is kind of the lackluster of the anime pops, to where we have seen a lot of Madara pops, and that you might not exactly need this version of Madara realistically, which is why I could see this not selling out for quite a bit. Next up is Mirio Togata from My Hero Academia, which is going to be shared with the Funko shop in the US only, in which I'm going to say pass up for right now. I do think because we have gotten quite a bit of Mirio Togata pops as it is, that maybe not a lot of people would want this new one unless you're trying for that 100% complete set of My Hero Academia pops. But with the lineup that the Funko shop is getting, which there are only like 5 retailers, or 4 actually, I think, that are doing shared pops this year instead of like the 10 we usually get, that the Funko shop is already overpopulated. And when you got pops like, let's say, the limited pieces we're going to talk about later on, or the One Piece pops, and even like the Iron Man pop and the Poochie, that this one's going to be kind of left in the shadows, to where it's not going to be a top priority for a lot of people. So I do think this could be one of those pops that either may actually sell out or may sit on the site for a while. So that's why I'm saying it's a pass up. Next up is the Green Lantern for the Justice League lineup, which is going to be shared with Target in the US and GameStop in Canada, in which I'm going to say pass up. I feel like, in my opinion, this may be, at least in my opinion, the most lackluster pop of C2E2. I mean, we've gotten quite a bit of Green Lanterns, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem really appealing compared to the other Green Lantern pops that we have gotten. I mean, if you are a Green Lantern, you're getting this, cool for you, but I do see this, because it is also a Target exclusive, just sitting on the shelves for quite a bit, to where it's indeed both on Target's website, and most likely when they decide to put it on the Funko shop also, is going to end up being on clearance at some point. Next up is Yajirobe and Karen from Dragon Ball Z, which I believe this is going to be shared with the Funko shop in the US, in which I'm going to say pass up. Now, it is kind of cool actually to see the return of Dragon Ball pops at a Comic-Con, because it's been quite a bit, which does make sense since they have pumped up so many Dragon Ball Z pops that who knows what they can make next. But some people are excited, some people are not, because some people want the cat, and then some people just want the Yajirobe character as it is. I think it's cool in terms of the detail, but I do see this like having a potential of not selling out, because you do have a higher priority in a lot of anime fans' opinions of the One Piece pops. Just like the Mirio Togata that I talked about just a second ago, I do feel that this is going to be kind of left in the shadows and not really bought right away. Next up is Egghead Jr. from Looney Tunes, which is going to be shared with the Funko shop in the US and GameStop here in Canada, and this is a cop-up. Now, this is a really cool obscure character From Looney Tunes, that is a Comic-Con exclusive. I know that this has a lot of people excited, and I think this will be a decent seller for the most part. They should continue doing pops like this for the Looney Tunes lineup. All of the Freddy Funko related pops, so we have the Pilot Freddy Funko, the Officer Proto as it's being called, and the first ever Franny Funko Pop, which all of them are limited to 3,000 pieces, in which I'm going to say cop up for this one. I mean, when it's limited to 3,000 pieces, and technically, even though it says it's shared to the Funko shop, it's actually most likely being a con only pop. If you can get it at that $15 retail price, obviously you got to get it, even if you decide to flip it on the secondary market because it's a limited piece count. You do have a cool pop in Freddy Funko. The Proto is really cool also, but then also the first ever Franny Funko pop, which that Franny Funko could be the most expensive out of the three, considering it's the first pop of her. Anyways, guys, that's going to be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed today's video on cop up or pass up for C2E2 this year, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below on what you're planning on getting for C2E2 if you're getting any pops, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.